Merry Christmas, everyone. Larry here at the Farmstead Way. I'm inside the barndominium enjoying some Elijah Craig toasted barrel that my boss from work got for me for Christmas. So thanks to him. And I want to chat a little bit. So every year my family and I get together and we watch the George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol. And this year I found a copy of the book and I wanted to read the original poem by Charles Dickens. Now the George C. Scott version is very, very similar to the book. There's some scenes cut out that wouldn't be easy to do in the time that that movie was filmed. But every year I look forward to watching this video because it helps me to reset my mind on priorities and trying to give myself in a mindset of service towards others. It's very easy, and this kind of goes to the blue collar thing, to look at what other people have and to be jealous. It's easy to look at the big time contractors, the big time farmers, the big time homesteaders, and be envious and jealous of what they have. And also during this time of year, it's very easy to want to stock up money, to hoard cash. Taxes are coming up, lots of things to pay for. And it's important to have charity, to sacrifice, to give to others, just as God gave us Christ. And yes, I know Jesus wasn't born December 25th, and it's an overtake of some Roman pagan holiday, whatever. Here in my house, we acknowledge that, but today, or tomorrow, this is Christmas Eve, we're going to acknowledge and remember the birth of Christ. And remember that gift that he gave to us. But getting back to the book, I really like the section of this book that has Jacob Marley in it. Jacob Marley, if you don't know, is the co-worker of Ebenezer Scrooge. And in the book, he is a ghost. He had died 7 years prior to the story. And he comes to haunt Ebenezer Scrooge and to warn him of the three spirits that were going to haunt him on Christmas Eve. The ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. But, so Jacob Marley shows up, and he's this ghost, and he's got all these heavy chains on him, and he's got these lock boxes and these books that he has to drag around. And this is really perplexing to Scrooge, because, why would a spirit be bound and chained and double ironed? So let's read that section. "O captive, bound, double ironed," cried the phantom, "not to know the ages of incessant labor by immortal creatures, for this earth must pass into eternity before good of which is susceptible is all developed. Not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short, its vast means unuseful. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life opportunities misused. Yet such was I, oh, such was I. But you were always a good man of business, Jacob," faltered Scrooge, who now began to apply this to himself. "Business?" cried the ghost, wringing his hands again. "Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. It held up its chains at arm's length, and it were the cause of all its unveiling grief, and flung it heavily upon the ground. At this time of the rolling year, the spectre said, I suffer most. Why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down, and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me?" Scrooge was very much dismayed to hear the spectre going on at this rate, and began to quake exceedingly. There's a lot to unpack in that. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, you know, lest you entertain angels unaware. There's scriptures in the Bible talking about the Good Samaritan. There's talking about Jesus healing the man at the gate. And how many times have we walked through the streets, walked past our neighbor's house, and did our very best not to make eye contact with them, as to not get involved in their troubles, in their worries, and their concerns? You know, he says, mankind was my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. This is saying that the things that pertain to his job were minuscule compared to everything else that was supposed to be about his business. Common welfare of other people, charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business. And it's so easy to get caught up in this hustle culture where all you care about is your business, where you do not care at all about how others are doing and how you can help. And in the movie, they go through his past and his present and future, and it shows Scrooge getting more and more tight with his money, being more and more business-minded, and getting to the point where he only cares about what he can do to make the most money for others. And it gets to the point where he doesn't care if it negatively affects other people. He pretty much just says poor people just need to either go to prison, go to the poorhouse, and die, and decrease the surplus population, and leave us rich folk alone to do business. And then it gets to the point in the movie where the ghost of Christmas future shows him that he is going to die alone, and that his house is going to be raided. All of his stuff is going to be sold off by marauders and looters, and no one is going to care one bit. And then people will find out that they went through their entire life, that Ebenezer Scrooge went through his entire life to make a fortune that added up to nothing. That's why the Bible says to lay up thy treasures in heaven. And you do that through the commonwealth of man. Mercy, benevolence, forbearance were all your business. And it's a good reality check, like I said, for me every year to watch that, because I've had to deal with that in the past, with jealousy, with greed, with seeing other contractors that have brand new trucks, that have successful businesses, and I'm driving a hoopty that's got 350,000 miles on it, and if it blows up, I can't afford to fix it. When Joe Schmo down the road makes $750,000 a year, and all he has to do is swipe a card, and he's got a brand new vehicle. And it's really easy to get envious of that. And that's why, if you've never read it, this is supposed to be like a replica copy of the book. I got it at the local Five Below. I would highly recommend A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And look at like how you look at the book of Proverbs. Try to apply the situations that you see in here to your life, to modern day times, because this is set in 1800s England. And there's a lot of things that we can apply to 2025 America. So I would highly recommend you read this book going in the new year and try to reset some of your priorities. I know it's a reality check for me every year. So I know it's a little bit of a different video. I just want to thank everyone who newly joined. That last video I posted with work gear kind of blew up, at least for me. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Larry Bevan with the Farmstead Way. And just thank you for sticking around for this long. So like, share, subscribe. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Praise Jesus. Y'all take it easy.